Now that our axle is rebuilt, the knuckles and kingpin bearings are installed and preloaded correctly. We have brand new universal joints in our axles. We are down to the final few steps to having a complete front differential. The next step is an exciting and satisfying one. We're going to put the axle in. So I like to put a little bit of light oil on the splines and the seal surface. Make sure you don't have a huge groove worked in here. There's a little discoloration where the seal was, but you can't feel it with your fingernail. And then just clean off your splines and carefully slide the axle in. If you put a little bit of down pressure on, it will raise it off the bottom so that you're not banging into the seal. So you'll feel it kind of hit the housing. And then if you just kind of put a little down pressure on and turn it, it'll slide right in. And I can hear the spider gears in there spinning. You can just let that rest, and this one's in and ready to go. Up next, we're going to install the spindle. If you're reusing your old spindles, take a look at the bushing here. They have little grooves cut in them to help lubricate, and just make sure it's not worn in a obvious fashion. If you do need to replace that inner bushing, you can buy them separately and you just drive it out and press in the new one. Quite simple. Put a little oil on this bushing surface. And I take the spindle and I don't put any sealant on these. I just wipe a light coating of grease on the shoulder, on the face, and then this is a thrust surface, so make sure you have enough grease or oil on one side or the other. I like to put a little bit on both and then just slide it right on. It's completely up to you where you put this groove. You are limited to where the hole spacings are, so you kind of just have to pick one. I like them both to be the same. I've found having it pointing straight up is easier so that in the future when you're working on it, you know exactly where it is. So we're not using the bolts to draw this in. I'm simply threading a bolt in to help me line the holes up, because if this is hard to get in there, once you get it in, you're not going to be able to spin it, and you definitely don't want to put pliers or a pipe wrench or anything on this and try to turn it. So it's important that the holes are lined up before you pound it in. These are hardened steel, so you know, use your judgment. A rubber hammer is best, so if you can just hit it with rubber and get it to tap in. A brass hammer is also fine. Just don't hit the bearing surfaces. Hit out here on the edge and just tap it in nice and straight. I don't like to use the bolts to draw it in because you risk stripping out these holes or creating a big burr. It should go right in by hand, and if it doesn't, just tap it. So you can see I'm just kind of lightly tapping it with a rubber mallet, and it's going right in. Okay, so I could hear the sound change. I saw the gap close up. This one's in. Now I can put a couple bolts in and pull it together nice and snug, but we know it started in. My bolts turned by hand, and we're good to go. Here's what it looks like. I have all 6 bolts in. I'm using very short fine thread bolts. I'm not covering the brake installation, so this is just going to be a mock-up assembly with the bearings and hubs. When this goes back to South Carolina, they're going to install the backing plates and brakes. If you were doing a disc brake conversion, you'd have different hardware for that. So just when you're ordering your parts, if you need a new hardware kit for here, talk to Jason or look on the website, and they have all new hardware kit for the kingpins, for the knuckles, for everything, and the wiper seals in the back as well. These are all fine thread, high quality bolts. You want to make sure they're the good stuff. Now it's time to install the wheel bearings into the hub. So I have a brand new hub here from Kaiser Willys. This is a reproduction original style hub. I'm going to put the wheel bearing outer races in them. On the Dana 25 and 27, the inner and outer bearing are both the same bearing. So the part numbers for the races are the same, so you don't have to worry about mixing them up. So you just take the race. Remember, the cone gets narrower as it goes down like this, and just pick a side. Make sure you get it down in there nice and straight. And then I just use my brass rod and tap it down in until it seats all the way to the shoulder. One trick to getting it started, because if you're just tapping it with a rod like I am, it'll have a tendency to spin like that in the housing. So once you get it just in there flat by hand, you can take an old bearing race that you don't care about and set it there and put a socket or something else metal on that, and that'll really help you get it started square in the housing. And since the first portion of this bore is not a press fit, the old race will just pop right out. Just make sure you don't go down so far with the race that this starts to get pressed in, because then it's going to be a real bugger to get out. So now I'm just alternating sides as I tap it down in. Checking to make sure my race still comes out. I do have a piece of aluminum set on the floor. You don't want to hit this right on concrete or metal, but if you put a block of wood under there, it has too much give and you won't get the shock from the hammer that you need to drive it in. Okay, that one's in. You will suddenly feel and hear a change, just like with all the other bearing clips I've shown you. So then you can look from the back side and look at the little cutouts and verify that it's in all the way. Now I just flip it over, do the same thing on the other side. On the back side, it's pretty much a press fit right from the get-go, so I'll use my brass hammer and get it started. It's not a super tight press fit, so I'm pretty much just letting the hammer do the work here, just dropping the weight of the hammer on it. It's real easy to be able to see that you're going in straight. Once I get to the edge, I'm going to switch over to this little setup I used on the other side. And now it's down below. I can't continue with the race because this one will get pressed in as well, and I don't want to do that. So now I'm going to switch over to my little brass bar. Race driver is great too. If you have one of them, they have a taper and they'll fit right in that race and you can drive it down with that. Okay, so I just alternated one side and then the other. The brass won't hurt that race, and you can look from the back side and I can see it's all the way down. So this hub is ready for studs, grease, bearings, seal, and installation. Before I get everything greased and assembled and the seals in, I like to take the bearings and make sure they slide on. They're both the same bearing, so these surfaces are the same OD, and they should slide on and off without any press fit needing. So they use that torque from the nut to hold the inner race. But if there's a burr on this spindle, when you go to put that on, you'll have trouble getting the hub on and off, and it'll pull the grease seal off the back. So if you have any little burrs on this little keyway here, you know, take a file to them or some Scotch-Brite, and then I always hit this with brake cleaner, make sure it's perfectly clean, and then a little light oil, and then we'll grease the bearings and put the hub on. For wheel bearings, we're going to use 52942. So you'll need 2 of these for each side, and then 2 of the outer cups that we put in the hub as well. So these are another great Timken product, so you know it's going to last for many, many miles. Normally the next step here would be to take our greased bearing, drop it in there, and then drive in our grease seal, the hub seal. This is for mock-up purposes, because when I ship this, I'm pulling these spindles off, and the guys at Kaiser Willys are going to do the brakes. So I don't want to put the grease seal in now, because when you go to pop the hub off, sometimes that bearing will pull the back seal out, and then you have to put a new seal in. So for right now, I'm going to omit the hub seal. I just want to tell you guys that so you don't do it in the wrong order. But normally, you would drop your greased bearing right in there and put the hub seal in this way. The taper's on this side because it has to ride up over this little shoulder. So that's the normal procedure and orientation for that. But for today, we're going to do it this way. So my bearing is greased, and it should slide right over there. And then I'm going to put my hub on there. Then I'll take the outer bearing next. It's kind of a little jockeying there to get it in place, just like that, and that should stay on there. This is a great time to replace the Bubbafied chisel mark nuts. So this is a brand new kit from Kaiser Willys, and these nuts are fresh and ready to accept a regular spindle socket. So I recommend having one of these on hand. Sometimes these nuts will be so buggered up you'll have to use a chisel or a bar and drive them off, but that's a great time to replace them with some new nuts. It'll make life easier, it'll stop cutting your fingertips, and you'll actually be able to put proper torque on the nut. Once you have the bearing in place, the next up will be this thick washer that is smaller in diameter. When you pull your axle apart, you'll have two washers. Should be like this. This smaller outer diameter washer goes in first. If you ever have questions about that stuff, your service manual has good diagrams of what's going on there. Then a nut. Next up is your nut. It has a machined shoulder, but these new nuts have them on both sides, so there's no right or wrong way to put these in. Well, there's a right way. There's no wrong way to put them in. And it's a fine thread. Always start it by hand. Once you know it's in there, then you take your socket and spin it on. Everything should turn nice and free, so I'm just hand tight right there. Feels beautiful, as it should. Brand new bearings. So I just begin to apply torque, occasionally spinning the bearing. So right now the drag has not changed at all, so we're putting preload on these bearings. So I just kind of keep turning it just a little bit at a time until I start to feel the drag increase. So very minimal increase so far. I've maybe gone one flat. New bearings, I like to make them a little bit tighter than a used bearing. Okay, so now I'm starting to feel some drag. Everybody has a different method of how tight they like to make these. Some people will go until there's drag and then they back it off a quarter turn or a 1/16 of a turn or like a half of a flat. I just kind of go by feel. Alright, so it's pretty snug, and I think that's an appropriate amount of drag. Next up is the larger washer with a little tang out here. That goes inward, so that will go in and engage that little keyway underneath the inner nut. Lastly, take the outer nut, get it started by hand. Then just take your socket and run it down until it's touching. And now this one, I believe, gets torqued to 50 foot-pounds. Or if you're using this style wrench, we're not going to put a torque wrench on it. It's just going to be nice and tight, because this is what prevents that inner nut with the preload from walking off. So this won't change the drag at all. You're just sandwiching those washers. So do your best to estimate, if you have this style wrench, 50 foot-pounds. Once you've done these enough, you'll kind of get the idea of how tight they need to be. Then the very final step will be to get in here with a screwdriver. I like to pick an area with a flat so you have more room, and then you're going to bend over that washer. Always bend it outward so that you can drive it off. I've seen some where people hammer them inward, and you're actually engaging the other nut, and then you won't be able to get that nut off. So always bend that washer outward. That locks the outer nut in place, and this side is done. The last step was to press in the studs, so I just set these up in my press and pushed them through from the back side. Notice they have a little R on the end, so this is the passenger side, so that has right hand lug nuts, so make sure you don't mix them up. But as long as you do all 5 the same on each side, you can switch the hubs back and forth if you made a little oopsie and put the left hand studs on the passenger side. So once that's done, we're really close to being wrapped up on this side. They decided to go with the slip-on style drums for this project. So I'm just going to, we don't have the backing plates on, obviously. I'm just going to throw a couple nuts on here to hold it in place. This is a neat upgrade. It makes it easier when you're pressing the studs in. You don't have to capture the drum as well. And for brake service, now you don't have to pull the hub. You can slide the drum right on. So we're going to do slide on drums, front and rear. Okay, this side is done. Now you'd put your drive flange or hub or whatever you want on here, and that would be finished. We have the kingpins done, the wheel bearings, axles are in, everything's good to go. Now it's just a repeat of the same exact thing on the other side. The final step was to install these beautiful new old stock aluminum housing knuckle wipers, the seal wipers for the knuckle. These are available from Kaiser Willys, and a new hardware kit as well. These are, in my opinion, the best seals. They're superior to the cotton sheet metal plate version, and they're much easier to install. I always put a little grease on them and on the ends where the seams are as well. Snug them down evenly, and they'll fit right inside that housing and make a good leak-free fit. It's really important to make sure to remember, always check your kingpin preload without the seals installed, because especially when these are new, they provide quite a bit of drag, and that will throw off your reading. I finished everything off with a little gloss chassis black. I want to always wait till I'm done doing all the work before I finalize the paint, because you'll chip it up in the process. So this axle is ready to get crated up and sent back to South Carolina, where Jason will be installing backing plates and the drive flanges and installing this in the vehicle. Ready for their journey back down south for another long, happy life, driving somebody around in a Willys.